You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Can you believe we made it to December? This week, we're reflecting on what a year it's been, talking about the very serious equine vet shortage, and sipping on some muddy buffaloes. Thanks for tuning in.
From Heels Down Mag, a podcast where horse pros chat about what's happening in the horse world over drinks. Welcome to Happy Hour.
I'm Justine Griffin.
I'm Jessica Payne.
And I'm Ellie Woznicka. Welcome to episode 119 of Heels Down Happy Hour.
Hey,
What
guys.
up, guys?
Guys, I sprained my ankle.
Oh, no.
Is there a good story?
No, it's a pitiful story.
Oh, no.
Aww.
It was like the worst way. I went to pick up a new dryer for like my clothes, and I just stopped at the gas station on my way home and literally got out of my truck. And as soon as my foot hit the ground, I just sprained my ankle.
No.
Like you rolled it?
Yeah, like there was a little pothole and I stepped out of the truck and my truck is lifted. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. And so I twisted my ankle. Luckily, Matt was in the truck, so he drove home. But I got lots of looks at the gas station as I'm like, oh, man. And I'm just like sitting on like the ground at the gas station.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I'm like, why can't this be like a fun, like doing stupid stuff with horses story? No, I just stepped out of my truck at the gas station.
Can't make it fun.
No, never.
Oh, boy.
So you guys doing better than that?
Much better. Much better.
So, Jess, I hear you have a drink for us this week.
I do. So a friend of mine sent me what looks like, honestly, like the coolest drink, to be honest. So it's a muddy buffalo. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. It sounds like kind of Christmassy, but like right up my alley. So it is Buffalo Trace bourbon cream, Old Forester, or any kind of like really good bourbon you like. And you basically take equal parts of that and shake it over a layer espresso liqueur and then dust it with some grated cinnamon and a cinnamon stick if you want to be fancy.
Ooh. Okay,
Yeah.
So this is kind of a weird question and also a weird thing, but I feel like I had this drink in a Delta Sky Lounge at an airport.
Oh, maybe.
Does that make
I
sense?
feel like, yeah.
Like
I
it
feel
was
like
a signature drink in like the airport.
Oh, maybe.
But it was very good.
But it looks
was
like
something similar.
it looks like a White Russian that I would like, basically.
Yeah, I'm really into bourbon cream. Like I don't know if that's a new thing, but like whoever invented it is genius.
But
I'm
it's
into
great
cream,
because
any
it's-
kind of liquor cream.
Yeah. So you can do equal parts and it can be like creamy and like look like almost a latte with a little bit of cinnamon on top, but it's actually mostly bourbon. So it looks really good to me.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is an A+ drink this
That's
week.
what I thought. So I might have to go find the Delta Lounge, but
I know.
I don't know when I'm going to be there next.
I know,
I'm just gonna have
random.
But I have heard that it's very, very good. So I can't wait to try it. So I had to share it with you guys so we can all try it in the future.
Absolutely. So this episode is brought to you by LiveEq. LiveEq is the fastest growing free app for equestrians. With LiveEq, you can find barns, horses, jobs, trainers, events, and more in your area. And you can use their advanced filtering on the app, which allows you to filter for results that fit your budget, your riding discipline, and almost any other unique criteria you need. All right, guys, it's time for the news, which is brought to you by the Heels Down Spark, the only daily equestrian newsletter. It's free. You can subscribe by going to bit.ly/spark/HD. All right, Jess, you got good news for us this week?
I do. So Annie Goodwin Rising Grant is a grant that they started after the young rider, Annie Goodwin, who was a dear, dear friend of ours that passed away in a tragic accident, in a horse accident. And so they started this grant that wants to provide financial support for a young professional that is establishing early in their years of their business and wanting to continue the education and the competition. So they did this like, hey, who can we go forward with that? It has to be an Aiken-based rider. It has to be someone that's there for a certain period of time. So it can't be somebody that's just visited it. But it's very exciting that Isabel Bosley is the one that got the recipient. She's the recipient for the grant this year. So really congrats to her, because so excited for that program to get started for, Aiken's a dear place in our heart, and really excited that young professionals can kind of make their way, and this can very much help them.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like, I don't want to say a long time coming, but it's really nice to see this grant program like up and running now.
Yeah, because they have to be like, I think the criteria is under 30 years old. So they have to be younger professionals that start it. And it's really nice that Aiken is giving back to the community that has made Aiken their home for at least part of the season. And so it's not just somebody that's visited Aiken that has to be there for a period of time. I think it's like 3 months annually, but that they are saying, look, instead of going to Ocala or Wellington, we really want to give back to the people that are supporting Aiken, which we all truly love.
Yeah, no, that's really nice.
And encouraging young professionals in the future of sport, which is important.
Absolutely. What do you have, Ellie, for us?
I just wanted to talk about the amazing Paris commercial.
Oh, my goodness.
Have you guys seen it? Please tell me you've seen it.
Yes.
I have.
So I haven't seen like behind the scenes, but I did see the commercial where like they were talking and all that. And I was like, it's a lot. I don't know if I saw the whole version, but I definitely saw enough of it that I was like, well, they're pushing something for it.
Oh my gosh. So
Okay, I do want to hear all of your all's version of the Olympics, okay?
Right?
Okay.
I'm not sure I can. Not sure.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
That I will not be doing.
No.
I
think
draw my self-humiliation line at that.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I was just glad it was done well. Like the horses are pretty, but it was definitely something, in my opinion.
All right, Ellie, let's hear though.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to lie and say that I watched the football game on Thanksgiving, but I saw this commercial come up on social media and I was like, oh,
that's
my goodness. Because to be honest, I hadn't heard of the rapper Megan Thee Stallion, but I was like, what a perfect name to showcase some awesome ponies.
What? You've
yeah.
never heard of Megan Thee Stallion?
Oh, I thought you were about to say that was her name. I was like, yes, that's her name. But I'm sorry, I was wrong.
You 1000% heard of her, Ellie.
Yes, you have.
Okay, so here's an embarrassing thing about me. I really don't listen to music that often. And if I do, it's like
the radio.
No, and if I do, it's like from like the 80s and 90s. I'm that kind of person. So
I mean, I know you live on the mountain, but like
we don't get a lot of radio stations. Okay?
What is happening?
There is this thing called like all kinds of radio, XM radio, like regular radio, like when on the mountain, you still get radio stations.
Also, like she's pretty darn famous these days. I feel like.
Yeah. I don't have cable, man. I live in my own isolated
I don't have
world.
cable. I don't have cable. I have all the streaming network things.
Okay, well, fine. I apparently have to do some homework and
we just need to I feel like we just need to broaden your horizons past the 80s and 90s in music.
Okay.
Okay, I have another question for Ellie. Have you heard of Taylor Swift?
Yes, I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, come on. I did grow up in the 2000s. Okay.
That was an honest question. I didn't. And had you heard of her for her music or football?
Wait, I only heard of her for her music. What was the other thing?
Football lately. She's involved in the football conversation.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. No. See, I'm not with it.
I was gonna say. So what we've learned, Jess, is that if we're ever doing like pop culture trivia, do not
have her on our team.
No, I am more like if you have like you need random classic info, like anything to do with like Celine Dion, Barbara Streisand, I got you covered.
That is amazing.
I'm not gonna lie.
Like
I still can't believe
topics.
She doesn't know.
Yeah,
I still can't believe she doesn't know that Taylor Swift's dating Travis Kelce.
I don't pay attention to who's dating who.
I mean, it's everywhere. You can't not see it.
You turn on like the daily, like the local news, and it tells you that.
Yeah, it's everywhere. How do you go on Facebook and not see that?
I guess I also follow people that are just apparently in their own little world. So I just see horse stuff on the internet.
Amazing.
Okay, but seriously. So this commercial was so cool.
It was.
All the dressage. So it was actually done at Ashley, I'm not going to say her name wrong. Ashley Holzer's place down in Wellington.
Yep.
And she said it took like 3 days, but they were like super fast. Like they set up this big like 70 by 20 green screen for them to perform in her arena, because that was like the, Palace of Versailles or whatever in the commercial. And then it was her and the 5 other dressage peeps. And it was just so cool. They did individual movements and it was like all, edited together. And I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I loved this like gold spray painted helmets, bonnets, bridles. Although the other part of me is like, what are they going to do with this? Like, I mean, these are nice helmets. These isn't like nice saddlebags. Like, what are they doing with these? But yeah, it was just cool to see like this acknowledgement of dressage for a more wide audience. And I thought it came out just so well. And knowing now that Megan Thee Stallion is famous, I think that's even better for the equestrian community.
So amazing.
I thought they just picked her because of her name.
Oh, Ellie.
All right. Well, you know what? That's my embarrassing news of today. What about you, Justine?
Hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, we've talked about this a few times through the year about like how the quote unquote horse girl aesthetic is like been very mainstream and like very cool in terms of like fashion lately. And it's always very puzzling to me and I don't know, caused me stress because I don't understand it. Like man, these are just
using half chaps.
But yeah, or it's just like
boots.
I wear paddock boots to like trudge through the mud, not to like look cool going downtown. You know what I mean? But the horse girl look is just like, we can't get away from it. It's just popular this year, which is good. It's good for our overall, I don't know, where we stand in the world, I guess. But there are a couple of horse girl themed holiday gift guides that have come out in like mainstream fashion magazines in recent weeks that we've talked about them a little bit in our Facebook group that I just thought it was worth mentioning here. So Harper's Bazaar, obviously a pretty big one, put out the more laughable holiday horse girl guide. I mean, the main image of this story is from like a Stella McCartney line, and it's literally a naked woman lying completely naked on the back of a horse. And I just can't stop thinking about the horse hair and where it's going.
Right. So
no.
I love the part about this though, is because all the, bizarre ones that they've like listed. So the Dada sport jacket though, I was like, so you have like boots, a jacket, like the Stella McCartney, like embroidered rugby top and stuff. Some of it's like a bit extreme, but then like, all of a sudden you have this Dada sports jacket, which I've seen in several stores. Like I saw it in Catherine's store at that Ride EquiSafe. And I was like, it's a beautiful jacket. It doesn't look elaborate. And so I'm like, it's funny that like,
how did it get shoved on here?
Harper Bazaar decided that like Dada was like extreme. And I'm like, it is a beautiful, beautiful jacket. Like it's incredible. I was going to say,
yeah, it looks very nice. Way out of my price range.
Oh
but
gosh,
it is beautiful.
Yes. But then there's like that sequin dress.
But then it's next to the sequin dress. And you're like, so the
who's going to wear that?
Like that's
$2,700.
The Dada sport is like, okay, yeah, it's a $500 jacket. It's beautiful. Like it's out of my price range.
And it nails the style. Like that is more realistic of our style.
What would be the equestrian style, but not the sequin embellished printed midi dress, like for $3,000.
No, and it looks like something like a toddler would wear,
It literally looks like someone went to like Google Images, typed in horse, put it on a dress, and then added some sequins.
It's so bizarre. But I'm like,
Yikes.
So you're talking about like, nail the horse girl aesthetic. Like that's what you're going to do. I'm like, half of this, okay, the boots might nail it, but like The dress next to the Donna Sport thing is like, they're back to back, and that's what just gets me. I'm like, no, that one nailed it. That one is like what my child wants to wear as her princess dress.
Yeah, the Harper's Bazaar one is a little bit more stressful to read because you're just like, what? Like,
right?
I'm not going to lie, like, Wyatt cost less than some of the items on this list that I would not buy. Too.
Right.
But
that's so amazing.
There's another one that's a little bit better from New York Mag that was, quote, air quotes here, written by a horse girl that is a little bit more like normal. I mean, they have like literally a plastic muck tub on this list and like FX leather cleaner, but we'll share these in the show notes so you guys can have a good laugh. But it is not quite right, but that one's a little bit better, I would say. Like it's a little bit closer. So
shout out to everyone who has donated to us on Patreon. We really appreciate everyone who is making this podcast possible. If you are interested in contributing, go to patreon.com/heelsdown.
So speaking of holiday gift guides, as you all know, we put out our own. So the Heels Down holiday gift guide dropped last month, and I figured it's just time to like share our roundup of good gifts.
Especially after we just talked about the Bazaar one.
I know, right? Like this is the real Horse Girl holiday gift guide, okay?
Yes.
And at the top of that list, for me personally, is an Eco Gold Breeze pad. I have one. It's beautiful. It's black with like really sharp turquoise piping. And I have the matching thin half pad that goes with it. And no matter where I go, I get a million compliments on it. So what I love about the Breeze pad is it doesn't matter what type of riding you do, like whether you're a dressage rider or an event rider or a jumper, like the style is just so sleek. And I love the thin version of the pad. It's so easy to keep clean. I like the half pad because I love my flip half pad, don't get me wrong, but the thin one fits better under my dressage saddle. So I'm obsessed with the thin Breeze half pad for my dressage saddle now. It's just a really nice pad. So if you're interested in getting for a set that goes with your colors that you have for your horse, they're all customizable now. Like you could pick out your own colors, and it's such a nice like splurge worthy gift for the holidays, in my own opinion.
So for me, coming into this winter season, I feel like I've stocked up more on the Purina Replenimash because with the changing of the weather, I mean, we've been 70 one day and 30, 40 the next day, that we have started doing the Purina Replenimash almost weekly. And so we can add it when the change of the weather happens. We add it to the normal grain. We'll cut the grain back a little bit. And I always just talk to Anna, the nutritionist, if we have any questions of like what we should do. But it is a healthy gastrocentric protein shake for your horse. You can give it by itself. You can add it to the grain. Like you can do it multiple different ways. And a lot of times we just do it as a late night snack. So we make a big, huge tub of it, soak it really well, and then give everybody like a late snack. So we make sure they're getting their water. So that one is a huge, huge one for us. And the other one that we love, and we actually did like a personalized one, is that Pinsnickety chili pepper pins.
Oh, cool.
They're so cool. So we did our emblem on them. So instead of using safety pins for your numbers to attach to your pad, obviously the hunters can't do this. They have to wear this on their back. But on any of the show jump or cross country pads that we would pin like with a big safety pin, we've replaced those safety pins with the Pinsnickety pins, and we did them with our logo. So we have our little emblem on them and they just pin directly to it, and you don't see the ugly safety pin anymore. You see this cute little pin.
I love these. They're so cute. I feel
They're
like
so cute.
I see them more and more now at the horse shows.
Well, and you don't have to have your personalized one. Like there's like super cute, fun ones, like all kinds of different designs. Catherine, once again at Ride EquiSafe, got us so involved in them. We saw them and we're like, this is amazing because we hate seeing safety pins. So one of our clients, even like we lost one, she put one as like almost like a little pin on her jacket. So it's super cute. So you can kind of put them everywhere.
All right. For me, equi panties.
Oh, that's you. That's you. I knew that was going to come off your list.
Okay. And I know that I don't think their intended purpose was to wear them out and about, but I do.
I used to, though. I like them. Yeah.
They're perfect because I can just take my jeans off after I ride and then go to the grocery store.
It's all about convenience for Ellie.
I'm talking about the longer ones, okay? I just want to make sure I'm clear here.
She's not doing the boxer brief ones that are super short.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like they look like bike shorts. They just look like workout shorts, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been asking Matt for Christmas that I want a Ride IQ subscription so I can continue to keep teaching myself up here alone on the mountain.
On the mountain. This is like the perfect subscription for you because it's on the mountain. You can have it and you can listen to somebody and they can coach you along the way.
Exactly. And I haven't read it yet, but I want to, and it's on my list. Never Burn Your Moving Boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read it?
I have, yeah. So this book, it's a novel by Jolyn Young, and it's you can find it at horseandriderbooks.com. I wrote a review about it actually in the Spark recently. I really loved it. If you're looking like for a quick holiday time read, you know, like get away from family for a couple hours and snuggle up with a book, I think you'll really like it. So Jolyn Young, it's basically a memoir of her life of being like working out on serious cattle ranches out west and how she fell in love and got married, but then also had to make the tough decision to leave her husband for her children. It's a really riveting story, and it's her own personal story. I really enjoyed it. And she just paints these beautiful scenes of like being out at these farms out west, and they're not glamorous, let me tell you. But it's
not Yellowstone. But...
No, not at all. And she's pretty honest about that. But I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorite books I've read this year. So you can find that one at Horse and Rider Books. And so the last item on our holiday gift guide is what we reviewed on the last episode. It's Zero Proof Horse Treats. This is such a fun and easy gift for your barn mates, for your trainer, and they come in such great fun cocktail themed recipes. So the one we picked for our gift guide is Mint Julep, which my horses personally loved. But there are many flavors like an old fashioned and an apple martini. And if from being a Heels Down Happy Hour listener, you actually get a perk if you order. If you use the promo code Heels Down, all one word, when you order at zeroproofhorsetreats.com, you can get free shipping and a free gift.
All right, everybody. So I'm really excited for our guest this week. She's actually someone I've known for a very long time. We showed IEA together, and I was her camp counselor for a while. Her name is Hannah McKee, and she's actually a fourth-year large animal tracking veterinary student at Colorado State with special interests in equine orthopedic surgery, podiatry, and reproduction. She's originally from Connecticut, and Hannah has been working with her horses for the majority of her life. Welcome, Hannah.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here.
We're so excited to have you, and I guess I'll just jump right into it. I think I have a good guess. But what made you specifically want to be an equine vet?
Yeah, I was kind of born just wanting to be a veterinarian ever since I can remember. And I always had a love for horses. And it's ironic to be on this podcast today because it's kind of a full circle moment because I always wanted to be involved with horses, but I never really got started until we met you and your sister because my mom is kind of terrified of horses. And so meeting you and learning about horses was able to get me in the industry. And ever since I started, I've been just fallen more in love with them. So that's kind of why I wanted to be an equine vet.
I'll pat myself on the back a little bit.
Right. And we can only imagine how hard vet school is. Like, two questions. What's the most challenging part and what's the most rewarding part of it?
I think the most challenging part for me, it's just the school part. I think especially I did my undergrad in equine science, and that was a degree where I was able to be outside all the time and be at the barn and work with horses actively. And vet school is quite the opposite of that. The first 2 years are 8 hours a day in a classroom every single day. And so sitting down, cramming, studying, several exams a week, that is the hardest part for me. Then the most rewarding part, it's finally coming this year. I'm in my last year of school, and I've had the privilege of traveling all across the country on externships, visiting some of the top equine hospitals in the world and meeting some of the top horses in the world that I just never would have even dreamed that I'd be able to meet. And so that's helping them has been super rewarding.
That's awesome. And you have a large social presence on social media to get other vet students to be interested in becoming horse doctors, which I think is really awesome. What is something you really wish equine owners knew about what it's like to be an equine vet student?
Just that there's very few of us, and we're trying our best always. The people who are still interested in being horse doctors are the people who love it the most. And a lot of people will joke around about how expensive vet care is, and I know it's very expensive, but none of us are in it for the money, and we're all really in it because this is what we truly love doing.
I think that's a great message, Hannah. And, we've seen many stories in the last year that have published that talk about the shortage we're seeing in terms of DVMs that want to go into large animal, obviously equine practices. Or you see like vets that come out of school and they maybe start in that arena and then switch to small animal. Can you tell us more just about this problem? And obviously, like, I think it's already affecting horse owners in some parts of the country where it's hard for these practices to keep vets employed. But it seems to be a problem that's been identified as like it's going to get worse if we don't start recruiting more, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a big growing problem, and I do think that it's a little bit scary. The current statistic that is put out by the American Association of Equine Practitioners, which is like our governing board, is that only 1.3% of graduates are going into equine practice directly. And then there are 4.5% of them that go into equine practice but pursue additional training, such as an internship. However, 50% of these group of veterinarians will, within 5 years, either leave for small animal or quit veterinary medicine in total. So the numbers are really scary for what we're going to face in this upcoming shortage and current shortage of equine practitioners.
So knowing that, like, what can we do as horse owners, I guess, to like raise awareness, or is there a message that you're sending, to your patients, like the horse owners that you're working with?
I think just being patient, and a lot of people, their reasoning for leaving the field, it comes down to two major things, which can be financial limitations that equine practitioners go through, and then also the lack of work-life balance compared to other fields. And I think that the unique part about the equine industry is that a lot of equine vets get really close with their clients and are on like pretty much a friendship basis with a lot of them. And I think that can be hard to develop proper work-life balance because you feel comfortable texting your client or vice versa, your veterinarian. And that can be hard to kind of set boundaries of like, oh, it is my day off or someone else is on call. There's a lot of other things that go into it, but I think just being aware that this is an issue, and then also potentially it could be getting worse. I do worry about things like the financial limitations of veterinarians going out on farm calls. I think that eventually, if this problem keeps progressing, it might get a little bit hard to do that and service barns that maybe it's only one horse that you're going out for and it's like a colic or something like that. You want to be able to go to them, but it might start getting harder to go out to the farm, and we might have to start trucking into the clinic instead.
Geez, that's scary to think about.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And like as someone who, and Hannah and I have talked about this before, but as somebody who lives in a more rural area, I mean, I'm dropping off fecal samples at my vet tomorrow, and it takes me an hour and 15 minutes to get to their office. And there is no one closer. So I think what you're doing is just really important. And you started the Equinection. Would you tell us about that company and your goal and your mission?
Yeah, so I just recently launched that company. So it's just in its beginning phases, but the slogan is getting you started in the equine industry one stride at a time. And the idea is basically to provide a network and a resource for people to get started in the equine industry, whether it be for veterinary medicine or if people are just interested in getting started with horses in general. I think that a lot of people are interested in working with horses, but just don't know where to start, especially within veterinary medicine. So my goal with this company is to provide a one-stop shop for resources for you to learn what opportunities are in the equine industry, whether it be externships and hospitals for you to visit, podcasts for you to listen to, websites for you to have as a resource in your back pocket, internships that are available for undergrads or even high schoolers to get hands-on experience with horses. And so that's what I'm hoping to develop this company into.
That's awesome, Hannah. I'm so excited to see where you go with this. And I'm just so happy that you are making more horse doctors because I think it's so important. So where can our listeners find you on social media? What's your handle and stuff?
Yeah, so I am most active on TikTok, but I also have an Instagram, and the handle for both of those is Future Dr. Hannah May, but it's just Future and then Dr. Hannah May. There's no like full doctor or the period. And then as well as that, I have the Equinection, which is the Equinection, and that's the handle for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us, Hannah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you so
me.
much.
Thank you.
So do you have an innovative idea or product that could change the horse industry? The Anti-Girl Boss, inspired by the founder and owner of Heels Down at Eco Gold, Patricia Da Silva, is seeking equestrian products and ventures to foster and help grow. Selected partners would have an opportunity to expand their distribution and online presence and take their venture or idea to the next level. We've got all the details on how to apply for this program at heelsdownmag.com. Guys, so I thought it would be worthwhile to talk a little bit about our year and looking ahead. Let's start with 2023, because I was thinking, like, everybody kind of had their own setbacks. Like, Ellie, some of your health stuff and all your rehabbing horses. Like, geez, you deserve a good year in 2024.
Right.
And Jess with your broken leg. Oh my gosh. You know what I mean? Like, everybody had just stuff. So, Ellie, why don't we start with you? Like, how do you handle setbacks? Because they can be financially, emotionally, physically so stressful. And also, I think, like, with rehabbing the horses, that's so relatable, at least to me, you know, like I get it. But there are lots of highs and lows in that, right? So do you have any words of wisdom having lived through all this? Like, how do you keep going and try to keep your goals on track?
Oh boy. Well, so I'm still in the Batman is through the tunnel, but like I'm still nervous now all the time that he's going to re-injure himself. So I'm hoping that eventually that fear will go away. I did just increase his pasture size again a little bit, like another like 20 by 20 feet this past weekend, because I'm like slowly inching him
but
up.
that's huge. That's great.
That is a big deal.
They've told me he's good, just be slow about increasing it, but it's mostly me being afraid.
Yeah, right.
At this point. But I'm still, in the midst of it with Berkeley. He'll be up to trotting by January. But I think the biggest thing when crap happens is and Matt and I were actually just talking about this the other day, because he's very much like, let it roll off your shoulders. And I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm one of those people where if, for example, when I sprained my ankle, I sat there and I cried and I swore. and then I was like, okay, now I'm fine. Now I can move on. So, I mean, I think it's fine to have, like, I think it's important to just like vent your emotions. And the nice thing about living in seclusion on the top of a mountain, I vent it quite frequently because I'm like, I got no neighbors to hear me. But I think, yeah. And then just to stay positive about it, because, they are horses. Like every time I bring Berkeley in these days. He will turn and spin and spook. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to stop this from happening. So just kind of going to go with the flow. And just think about like what you can do in the future. Like obviously Batman will never go back to reining, which is super sad because he's the horse I learned to rein on. And I really love doing it with him, but that's okay. Like I've been thinking about like new adventures for us to do together. Like I'm going to plan next summer to take him to Lake Ontario and just like ride him on the beach of the lake there.
Aw.
Yeah, because I was like, he loves water. Like that would be fun. And it's flat. So I don't have to worry about him like slipping on a hill or anything like that. So I think like, you know, it's okay. I mean, it's unfortunate when your goals aren't as big as they were before rehab, but I think it's great to make those little ones, you know? I mean, obviously with me, I'm not the rider I was back in 2022 before all my bull crap. But that's okay. I've, you know, you've got to just, once you do your swear and your vent and your cry, then you move on and you make new goals. And I think you just got to be flexible, I guess.
And your goals you have to be okay to change your goals.
Yeah. And your goals can be really small. Like, I don't want to fall off today.
Oh, absolutely. I'm trying to make it from point A to point B.
Oh, I sent Justine a picture of the butt dirt angel that I made in the arena.
Yes, she did.
The other day, just because Berkeley spooked and I just slipped off the side and he just stood there and looked at me, but I was like, gosh darn. But, oh God. What about you guys?
Yeah, what about you, Jess?
So for me, I just try to like, you know, take the small steps sometimes, like go about it and say, look, I understand that this isn't what my season was supposed to look like. Like I was supposed to bring my young horse back out, you know, for the first time out and do his whole season. And instead I, you know, had to reroute my plan. And I feel like kids have kind of helped me do that, of changing my plans a bit more, but realizing that I can be a little bit more flexible than I've always been like, okay, we have to do this and this and this, because I'm such a planner. So it's quite hard when you're like, no, the plan isn't like, no, you're going to actually be off for 10 weeks because you have a broken leg. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's kind of a hard reality set in. But I think in the end, you kind of just have to be happy with the process sometimes too, and know that you're still in the process. So when setbacks happen, I just then take what my main goal was and then make them small goals and be like, okay, look, yeah, that's still my goal, but it might not be in June. It might be in 2025. I don't know. But I've got to then set myself realistic goals for what's happening right now in my life. And so I do a lot of like realistic goals and like, what can I realistically handle on my plate and go from there? Because maybe it's not even a physical limitation. It might be just a conflict of schedule and mental. Like it might be all of the above that I can't get there as fast as I thought I was going to.
Sure. I mean, all that makes sense.
What about you? Yeah. What about you?
God. Yeah, I mean, this year was hard. Like, I remember being this time last year, like flying to LA to see family for Christmas and just feeling like everything was awful because Mikey had just retorn his ligament and like all that money and hard work going into his rehab was just like gone in an instant, right? Like it's just, you start all over and it was the worst feeling ever. So what did I do? I came home and I bought another damn horse, and I don't recommend that. But it was, you know, it was this blessing in disguise for me that when I could afford it and I had that opportunity, and it was limited, right? Like I planned for it. I built myself the financial runway to care for two horses through the end of this year, knowing that I couldn't do it forever. And I'm very lucky that it all worked out, and Wyatt was a great distraction from my bigger problems, but now Wyatt is gone. And I will say, like, the moment he got on the trailer and left, like the weight of all that returned. And it sucks, like I feel just how I did in 2022 when McKee originally injured himself, and like that dread comes right back, and it's terrible. I do not wish a ligament injury like this on anybody I know. It's almost a traumatic experience. It's hard to describe because it feels like it's never ending, and it's like raw and emotional for me right now. So that's why I have nothing good to say, but I still don't know. I don't know what the future will look like for this horse, but what this experience taught me is that, like you said, just like you got to just take it day by day, because everything else is out of my control, and it's very overwhelming if I think about it bigger than that. And it's not productive to do that, because all it does is just get me upset and worried, and changes nothing,
Right.
So knock on wood, as of right now, the horse is sound. He's just feral and like constantly trying to kill me. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It's insane. So like, and the vet doesn't want me to lunge him because we don't really need that torque yet on the smaller circle on the leg. And
Yeah.
I called the vet again today and was like, listen, I either need to be able to lunge this jerk, or like he's going back on drugs, because like we're not getting anywhere.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, some part of us, like, we do that reserpine that's a long acting one, and it just makes them, it's hard for them to sit in a stall. So it helps their mind to settle because they're so used to being active.
Right. So mine has turned out like Ellie's, like he's got a small turnout, and that has made a world of difference. But it's been a year and a half since he's been in real work,
but they start to go crazy with that. That even becomes boring to them sometimes.
Batman is like, his brain's like a little fried. Like, I've been trying to think of new things for him to do because his cribbing's gotten worse. He just
it fries their mind. It doesn't even matter like if they're getting turned out sometimes. Like, it's not good enough for them sometimes because they're such active athletes, and depending on how much work they were in before and how much fitness they were in before, it plays a part of it, sometimes. Sometimes you have
definitely.
the fat cows that don't really care if they sit in the stall for 3 days. They're like, or 3 years, 10 years, whatever. They're like, oh, we're happy. You gave us more hay today. Like, they don't care.
Right. No, and mine is definitely happier that he's turned out and he's got a little bit more socialization with neighbors and stuff. But the work is the problem.
The work's the problem, yeah.
So, because it's just been so long, and now he's finally like strong enough and has like a very minimal amount of fitness that it's like, it's time to walk, trot, canter. And like, I'm going to die, guys. Like, I feel like I'm pretty brave for an amateur. Like, I ride some Yahoos plenty of times, and, and I, my own is going to be the one that's going to hurt me, man. So,
right.
I'm at a loss of like how to go forward. And the problem is it's because it's mine. It's because it's McKee. Every decision I make, I second guess, and it's emotional. And I'm very afraid of the consequences of making the wrong decision, because I think I just have to be brave and go, God damn it, go forward, when he's giving me attitude. But I'm just afraid that I'm afraid of losing control, like less about me getting hurt, but him jumping in the air, landing on that leg, knocking me off, and then running away and hurting that leg. You know what I mean? And I don't know. So I have a horsemanship person that's like coming to help me, because I just think I need somebody to kind of like yell at me to get through some of this. And we've been doing a lot of groundwork, but he's also wild on the groundwork stuff too. So everything sucks right now. Like, I feel like I'm crawled back into that setback hole that I felt like I was in before I had Wyatt to distract me with other goals. So it feels very fresh right now, but I did it before. I will do it again. I will find a way to get McKee out of this. Like, I'm still positive. It just, this week sucks, So knowing that, what are your guys' goals for next year, Ellie? Like, what do you want out of next year?
Oh boy. I want everyone to be happy, healthy, and sound. that is my goal. No, my big thing is like, I want my horses to be back out on their pasture, because like Berkeley and Batman, like they've always been out in a herd and like running and bucking and farting. And that's what I really want. Like I miss not like looking out my window and seeing them in these tiny paddocks when they should be out running and rolling and, you know, sleeping in a group. Like I miss that. So like that's a big goal for me is like I'm hoping that Berkeley's rehab will, because he went lame in March. So I'm hoping that maybe by March, like after a year, maybe it'll be, you know, a little bit quicker than Batman's, because Batman's was just so it was high on the grade scale. It was almost a grade 3, you know. So I'm just hoping that is my goal, for them to just be able to like be horses. And then I guess my goal, like for myself, is like I would really like to get to a point where I feel comfortable in the saddle again to do a course. I don't care if it's literally a course of pulls. I want to be able to do that again. And granted, Berkeley's the only, well, I have the free horse, I guess she jumps too, but but I've never jumped her, so I don't know. My mom has though, so she could probably help me out.
Aww.
But I think like that's my goal. Like I just want to go to like a little schooling show and just go around a course, and I don't care if it literally takes me 5 minutes to do something like 8 jumps. I don't care. Like I just want to like be able to do that. But like high goal is this place like 30 minutes away from me has this cross country course, and I really want to be able to take Berkeley to that. So I mean, I don't think that'll be a 2024 goal, but that is my my goal.
Super fun.
Yeah. Because Berkeley loved doing that stuff. Like we used to go on like paces and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I definitely don't feel comfortable right now in my own like body
yeah,
to go do cross country. Like I'm gonna stick to like level flat ground first. But yeah, that's my goal. And just to like try to figure out to make more freaking time to actually do stuff on a horse's back. I feel like my schedule has gotten so out of whack where I spend more time cleaning up after them and trying to fix things they've broken and, you know, dealing with vet appointments and everything. And I would like to have some time to just like ride my horse and just have that free time. So hopefully when it gets warmer and stuff again, that's the goal.
That's
what about
great,
you?
though. So for me, my goal is I was supposed to compete my little horse, the little 5-year-old that we bought as a weanling. I was supposed to compete him this past year, and he's kind of squirrely, and Doug ended up taking him in the meters and everything. Well, started him and then took him up to the meters. So I'm hoping that I can compete him this spring and stuff and kind of get used to him. But I've been riding him and jumping him a little bit, so it's great. So that is definitely like my near goal, and then kind of see where he's going to take it and stuff, because he's super exciting and he's totally my type. So that'll be fun. Justine, what about you?
Hopefully get McKee sound and sane, like the two things coexisting at the same time, would be great. But that's really it. You know, I think like in my dreams, like maybe go back to some dressage shows, you know, because I don't think jumping will be in his future anymore. And my goal is to try not to buy another one, because I've almost done it a couple of times already. And I'm like,
if you figure out
I don't
how
need
to
to do
stop
this.
that urge, let me know, because I'm up to a high number now, and yeah.
I know you are. So the one that I shared on my Facebook that you commented on, I went and tried it. So like I'm getting like dangerously close sometimes.
Oh my
goodness. What am I doing? Because I've got to see, I need an answer on McKee. Like I've just got to see it through before I recalibrate and, you know, change plans. So I am committed to that, and I'm going to be brave and figure it out. Or we're going to live a better life through chemistry and drugs for a while. I don't know. Like, but I am
It's up
hopeful.
in the air.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that the 2024 is like, we figure out a more permanent solution for McKee, whether it's a job or no job, you know? So, and what comes of that, we will see. But for horses in general, it's an Olympic year. It's exciting. Like, well, I think we'll have plenty to talk about on the podcast next year.
Oh yeah, lots of fun stuff coming.
So 'tis the season to raise a glass with your best friend. As the holiday season approaches, what better way to celebrate your equine companion than with a festive treat? Introducing Zero Proof Horse Treats, the only horse treat on the market, flavored to mimic your favorite cocktails, and they're available in delightful flavors like apple martini, mint julep, and the classic old fashioned. Like we mentioned earlier in our gift guide session, if you buy horse treats from Zero Proof at their website, zeroproofhorsetreats.com, you can use our special promo code heels down, all one word, for free shipping and a free gift. All right, guys, it's time for Rose and Thorn. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Go for it.
My rose, I'll start with that first, is that we have been so fortunate after such a crazy show season that we've been able to take some downtime. And first off, thankful for everybody that has made that possible with our whole team that goes about it, because we went actually kid free to go be there and celebrate one of my best friend's marriage to her partner. And it was the prettiest, most amazing wedding. And I know you say that about all the weddings, but we went to Casa de Campo in the Dominican for Rebecca and Alan's wedding. And it was everything. He's from the Dominican, so a lot of his family was there. He's a big time polo player. And she does hit air, and she actually is a successful show jumper as well. But it was just so fun to be with a lot of friends and family, and it was incredible. And so we did that. And then now next week this week, we're off to go to Jackson Hole and go skiing with my brother and father. So we can't wait. So it's just craziness. And then my thorn is that in the middle of all this, before both of the trips, but far enough before them, thankfully, between them, our kids have timed it perfectly, that they've both gotten the stomach bug that the first years of schools have brought. So, I mean, I do have to give them credit. They did it like 4 days before the Dominican trip and then 5 days before the Jackson Hole trip. So I'm like, wow, you guys have great timing, but it's the first time our kids have ever had the throw up bug, and it's so gross. It's so gross. So that is, I think, everybody's thorn. That's anybody near me, because it's a lot. But they're on the rebound now and everything's good, but it's definitely been not fun.
Yeah. I'm not a vomit fan. Never have been.
Hudson did his in like the gas station, which was really bad.
Oh, no.
And he was with Doug. We didn't know he had gotten it yet. And they just ran to like the local little gas station. And he's never thrown up before. He's 5 years old. So poor thing is like never really vomited. And he like catches it. And like Doug has to like, it's so bad. Like Doug comes back and he's like, oh, we have a problem. I'm on the phone, like doing a bunch of things. And he's like, is this important? I'm like, I can wrap it up, but kind of. And he's like, okay. And I'm like working and all this. And he's like, yeah, it's in puked at the gas station. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, great. I was like, well, man, okay, well, we'll take care of it. So poor dude.
Oh, man. I'm a sympathetic vomiter. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That would have been so bad.
Like, I remember growing up, my sister one time, like, she felt sick, so my mom gave her a bag or whatever. She forgot to give me a bag. So my sister puked in the bag, and then I puked in my hands, and I'm just holding puke in my hands because my sister puked. Yeah, I have, like, vomit PTSD. Not a fan.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
God.
Well, I hope you don't like puke because you talk about it too. Because I like would feel really bad having this conversation.
No, I have to see it. So like in college and stuff,
good.
I could never be around. I could never be that supportive friend that holds your hair when you're drunk. I can't do it because I will end up puking on you. So I'm the one who's like on the other side of the door, like, okay, let me know if you need some tissues.
That's amazing.
Oh gosh. All right, Ellie, what do you got?
Oh boy. So I'll start with my thorn because I'm bummed about it. My my dog Brave, my snaggletooth one, she had some like weird lesions on the roof of her mouth. So she was due to get like a dental exam anyway and like get her teeth cleaned. So they just did like a biopsy of it while she was in there. So obviously I was super concerned, and it's not cancer, which is great, but she actually has eosinophilic rich stomatosis type, something like that. But it's actually, I guess it's common in cats and King Charles Cavaliers, but it's get this, it's an autoimmune disease. I'm like, do I think it's a little ironic that an autoimmune person would have an autoimmune pet?
I feel like that fits right in there.
A little bit. So now she's on drugs. She's on immune compromising drugs. So, I mean, she's in great spirits. Like, it's not, affecting her or anything, which is awesome. She's just like finished her round of like steroids to see if we can get the lesions to completely go away. But it just sucks. And it's scary right now with the whole like doggy COVID thing going around, which I don't know if it's hit down by you guys yet. It's mostly out like west and stuff. It's just like this upper respiratory that's like not responding to any real treatments, and it's not, kennel cough, and it's not, the flu. So it's just kind of scary. So I'm extra glad once again for my seclusion on the mountain. So Brave's not getting in with dogs now that she's on these, drugs that are affecting her immune system. So that would be my thorn. But my rose is that Berkeley is really surprising me with how well he's doing with his rehab. I, like Justine, thought he would be really feral. And I was a little afraid, and he might be because we're not trotting yet. So when it comes time to trot, it might be some like dramatic head flips, things like that. But I'm really happy that he's just being such a steady Eddie about it. Like, I, again, don't recommend this for rehab, but I've been riding him bareback in a halter and lead rope, which is probably why I slid off the side. Is that just but like, he's just been so chill, and the weather's been so terrible here, like crazy winds, and he's just like been like literally plow horse walking around. Like I get off of him and my legs are sore from making him walk with purpose. So I'm just happy he's like being so chill about it. I don't know if it'll stay that way, especially once he like starts getting a top line and stuff again. But I'm happy that he's being so far so chill about it. He was not chill when the paddock was much smaller. So they told me not to make it bigger, but I did, because he just like, he doesn't do anything stupid outside. He needs more room. He's a big guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that. I do stuff my vet would have a heart attack if he knew I was doing it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you have to do what's right for the horse, Like,
but we're taking the risk by doing that,
Yeah.
So.
But it's like my horse, he didn't feel comfortable rolling outside in like a 12 by 12. He wasn't comfortable. So, yeah. So, I mean, you gotta.
Boy.
He's a good egg, and he loves winter. Like, it's his favorite because there's no bugs. He does not like bugs. So I literally look out, and all day he's just sleeping. I'm like, okay, he's just conked. But yeah, so he's my rose for sure this week. What about you, Justine?
Oh man, well, McKee is 1000% my thorn.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, he's like, it's unreasonable. It's just like insane that it's literally like starting all over with an unbroke 3-year-old. I am just like, I'm still in shock by it, I think, because it's not like he hasn't been doing anything this whole time. Like, while I've been riding Wyatt, I was still doing rehab rides with McKee, but all of a sudden he's just decided like, nah, I'm good. Like, nah, I'm clocking out. I'm not interested in doing this anymore. So then, of course, with that kind of drastic change, I had the vet out just to make sure that it's not a pain response. Like, did something happen, that not showing any obvious signs? And the vet was like, he is the most sound he's ever been. Like, you've got to, like, the vet was like, just get him over this hump is how he described it. And I'm like, okay.
He's feeling himself.
Yeah, I feel like he has, like, finally just a little bit amount of fitness, and he feels the best he's felt in his body, so now he's just like, screw you, man. So it's stressful because I feel like I've had a lot of not successful workouts with him in the last couple of weeks. Like, he is moody and explosive and throws tantrums, and whether I'm on his back or like I've started trying to long line him and just trying to get him like focused on me, and like, but he just like, I understand why parents ship their kids away to boarding school now. Like, I want to do that.
Oh my goodness.
Like, goodbye, come back when you're reformed.
That is amazing.
That is how I feel right now. Like, I don't want to see you until you can like be respectful, you jerk. But I will get through it. We'll figure it out.
But the positive side of that is that he's feeling that confident in his body. Like,
yeah,
feeling
he's very
comfortable.
down. I'm not going to lie. So last week he got away from me and ran around like a total lunatic. And I'm, my heart just sinks, and I'm watching him.
Yeah.
And he's done this a few times. He's ran away with my saddle and rolled in it and done all kinds of but I'm watching him run away, neighing like an idiot for anybody with his tail flagged. And I'm like, no one cares about you, Mikey. Like, he's literally in a cow field. All the cows are like, we don't care about you. And and so then he slides to a stop in front of the pasture gate. And I'm like, this is it. He tore it again. I just want to open the gate and like never see him again. Like, goodbye, just leave my life. And brought him in. Obviously, I cold hosed ice, butte him. And then, it's kind of with the ligament injury, it's like the next day that really it sets in, So I put him in a stall and went the next morning and was like, all right, he's not going to be weight bearing. Like, it's going to be blown up. It's over. And that, like, I can't say the curse words I want to call him. Totally effing sound the next day, and just like, hey, what's up? Like, totally fine, totally sound, has not taken a unsound step since that day. And I'm just like, God, you a-hole,
Right.
I will figure it out, but it's, he's like pressing my buttons. I just think he doesn't want to go back to work. I just really think he's like, I have had a year and a half of doing very minimal work, and you just feed me. So why don't we like keep doing that? Sigh. Anyways, my rose though is, Alex and I just booked a trip. He has to go to Wyoming for work in January, and I'm like,
nice.
Cold, but also beautiful. So we tacked on a little vacation to Jackson Hole. I know, I'm very excited. So normally we try to do a ski trip with my family every year. My dad's a big skier, but this year they're taking a break. So we're like, oh man, we got no ski trip this year, but psych.
Now you do.
Now we do. And it's nice when we can tie it to a work trip for Alex, because it just makes it a little bit cheaper for us. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
If you see buffalo, take
I know.
I
and also
buffalo.
Wild horses. I feel like you're kind of like out where the wild horses are. So if anybody listening has like any insight on how to do that, because he will be working for several days, so I'll be on my own a little bit.
There's so much to do out there. It's so fun.
And I know, like, obviously we're very close to Yellowstone, but I feel slightly guilty because we're probably not going to go there. Like, the way you would have to drive to get in, and then
it's almost near impossible.
Yeah, with the pass.
With Jackson and stuff, like the town itself is like super cute and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's amazing. And then you can like, Teton's different from Jackson. So like you can go into Teton Village. You can drive over to Grand Tarhee too. Like, there's a lot of stuff to just like drive and see. And it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So if anybody has tips, you've been there and want to share, send them my way.
Even more. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we have a mailbag this week that feels up Ellie's alley, but also, Jess, I'm curious about how your program handles it. What's the best way that you guys store hay for the winter? Like, I just don't buy hay in enough quantities that it matters. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not like I buy all my hay and stock up for the winter. So do you guys, like, Ellie, how do you do it? I know you obviously bale your own hay, too.
Yeah, so I don't store it any differently in the winter than I do in the summer. We have a hay barn that's 3-sided, and we keep the tractor in the front, and we go out there every day. But the back of it, we have just like I want to say they're 2x6s, but they have little cracks in them because the biggest thing is just making sure that it gets a breeze or some kind of air movement. That's what's going to help with your mold, and especially when you've got, a cold roof and then a wet roof, if with condensation and stuff, having that airflow is what's going to help your hay. So that, and then we store ours on pallets, like wood pallets. So nothing is ever on the ground of my barn, like on my mats, and nothing is ever on the ground outside, because that's just, you're going to soak up moisture. So that is what we do. We just try to keep it dry, and we steam hay depending on how good the hay year is and stuff too. But yeah, that would be my best advice, would be just making sure it's in a place where it's got good airflow.
Got it. Good advice.
Yeah,
what about you, Jess?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like, honestly, everything Ellie said was like spot on, because we like store it in the same thing, a 3-sided building with tractors in front. And I think, yeah, she like hit everything. That's kind of our go-to way to store it. We don't do anything different. They're all on pallets.
Got it. All right. Well, if you want to hear more from us, you should subscribe to the Heelstown Spark. You can do that by going to bit.ly/sparkbyhd. And if you have a question for us and you want us to answer it on the air, you could always send us an email. Our email address is hello@heelsdownmedia.com. Or you should consider joining our Facebook group, which is the Heels Down Happy Hour Podcast Lounge. We want to say thank you to all of our partners this week, Zero Proof Horse Treats and Live Eck. That's a wrap, guys.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Cheers!